there's a microphone right there to catch the last gurgles, and Technicolor to photograph the red swollen tongue.
Hey, Vern.
Future events such as these
Angling?
will affect you in the future.
Damn you, Rabbit! You smell like fucking piss!
You're watching The Projectors,
Hell yeah!
a film fan program discussing a variety of movies from history and around the world.
What do you think of this boner I got?
Featuring your hosts, Bob Sham
When you're Scandinavian, flopping out your mommy milkers is nothing.
and Angela.
If they were just gun perverts, this would be fine.
Party!
Thank you for selecting The Projectors.
I want French pancakes like at IHOP.
And now a preview of our film discussion.
Dear old Sussex visions linger of the holly and the pine, of Henlope and jeweled finger flashing out across the brine, of the gardens and the hedges and the welcome waiting there for the loyal son that pledges faith to good old Delaware. Oh, our Delaware, our beloved Delaware, for the sun is shining over our beloved Delaware. Oh, our Delaware, our beloved Delaware, here's the loyal son that pledges faith to good old Delaware.
Hey, folks. Hello, Angela.
Hello, Bobby.
Doing good in my GQ bucket hat, which is like a fishing hat. A bucket hat is a fishing hat, and people do a lot of fishing in Delaware all along that Delmarva Peninsula. Did you know that Delaware's on a peninsula?
Yes, because you told me the other day.
Because it's the Delmarva Peninsula, and I think we'll get more into the world of the peninsula, which encompasses 3 different states, right? It's
Delaware,
Maryland, and Virginia. Marva.
Okay.
It's the state names combined into... Isn't that fun? Isn't that a fun fucking fact?
That's so clever.
Aren't you fucking... Isn't your fucking brain blown the fuck out?
Wow. Blew my brain out.
Blow your fucking brains out with that fact? I just put a shotgun of facts in your mouth and blew your fucking brains out. And now I feel like I got a shit. This sucks.
Okay. You gotta.
Can I get personal with like the 20 people that are listening? I poop too much, man. I poop too much. It's a problem. I drink too much coffee, which I know is a direct connection. Drinking a chilled coffee right now.
You haven't eaten any food.
I haven't eaten any food. I ate a couple pieces of cheese, which should help it stop a little bit. And I haven't even gotten to the intro of the movie. Look, I'm going to go to the bathroom. I'm sorry, hon. Movies about our states. Each state will have a double chunk of movies that we discuss.
Some will have a quadruple chunk.
Yes, we have 4 states that will have 40, but all the rest have 10. All split into 2 episodes. Sucking on a chili dog.
Ain't that America? Sucking on chili dog.
Sucking on a chili dog.
Sucking on chili dog.
I don't understand.
We're going in the order of statehood. We've already have our first episode of Delaware.
Yeah.
I feel like we covered a lot of ground, learned a lot about Delaware, and you're going to teach us more in this this weird series. You forgot.
But maybe I hoped you would forget.
We'll get into that for a second.
I was a smart kid.
Yeah, you were. And that went away, but...
Rude!
But
very smart. I'm also very nice, so people sometimes mistake that for not being very smart.
I would say out of all the states that I had the hardest time finding movies for, it's got to be Delaware. The very first one we're doing.
Starting out strong.
If you're going in the order of statehood, Delaware's the first, and it is the hardest.
Guys, there's maybe some stinkers.
Well,
today.
It's not just stinkers, but I had to kind of dip below even certain, like, maybe a Hallmark level quality into, we're going into very low budget territory, which necessarily isn't a disqualifier if that low budget territory has some kind of prolific aspect to it from over time, like an influence or something.
Word.
But boy, we were scraping. I mean, we're getting into, and it's not that we may not ever dip this low again, but we're getting into movies that don't even have like Wikipedia pages.
Right.
Yes. And in any other state, that was probably a disqualifier for states like New York or California, where you have to like rack your brain to narrow it down what you're going to talk about. Like you could easily, but with Delaware, it's like, I got to go for this movie that I found here. I wouldn't describe any of the movies we're going to talk about this time as dog shit, but you know, we kind of have to kind of go into a certain mode, like we do when we're watching Hallmark movies. Like we're not watching fucking Tarkovsky when we're watching Hallmark movies. We have to kind of look at it like a Hallmark movie. But,
yeah, it's not Bergman. We have to meet them where they are.
And then criticize them harshly from that place.
Like imagine that you're sitting on my mom's couch on a Tuesday watching network television.
But I can honestly say that with any of the movies we watched in this session of Delaware Part 2, Delaware at the Movies Part 2, I never would have watched any of these movies if it wasn't for the little movie project that we're doing here. Do you think?
Yeah, I agree, because I was going to say I would have at least watched this first one we're going to talk about, but looking at the poster, I would not have.
No, you wouldn't.
I would not have. I would have never even heard of it, probably. I am very glad I saw 2 of these movies.
So Ain't That America, each state's devoting, most states, at least 10 movie discussions split between 2 episodes. And the movie has to, at least half the time, like 60% plus, take place in the state. So most of the time. It doesn't matter if it was filmed somewhere else. If the movie says it is in this state, then that is where we will put it. It happens all the time. It's just the matter of the perspective of the filmmakers when they're projecting here. And usually it has to literally occur within the state. But we have something in this block that is almost like where Delaware almost functions as like an access point to another realm. Or like we're going to deal with almost like an alternate universe version of Delaware, with a thing that people are very obsessed with, and we will get to that last. But before
I get it now.
But before we get into all that, like I revealed in the last episode that Angela had all these tapes of book reports she did in like the 4th or 5th
Cassette
grade.
tapes.
Cassette tapes full of book reports. You did book reports on each and every state. And the last episode you were kind of defending the DuPont Corporation, which is very, the DuPont name is a Delaware staple. But if you're from Delaware, or you know someone from Delaware and you happen to be watching or listening to this, send this to them. Delaware movies. We want to learn about Delaware. And we're covering so much ground that I feel very confident that I have picked up a lot of facts on Delaware. But as a good introduction, I'm going to play portions of your book report that you read in the 4th grade. I listened in a little bit of this. It's actually some lovely history about the indigenous history of Delaware. So,
cool.
And
I don't remember it at all.
I don't have time to sit and pre-read these, but if things get a little weird like they did with your DuPont
Blame
thing,
my parents, because I was a child.
Even your mother or dad having such a specific opinion on the DuPont
Maybe it was a teacher. I really don't remember
a teacher,
these at all.
Miss DuPont. Anyway.
Listen.
So, yeah, I'm going to hit play right here on your book report. All right, go ahead.
The known indigenous history of Delaware primarily consists of the Unami people, who encompass the areas of coastal Delaware, southern New Jersey, and southeastern Pennsylvania. The Unami of the South had dialectical differences from the Unami people of the northern New Jersey area. Further up north into New York area were the Munsee people, who spoke an Algonquin dialect. The process of forced removal began throughout the American Revolution, with the Unami and Munsee eventually relocated through Ohio and into Canada and the Midwest. The cultures of the tribes relocated now fall under the distinction of the Delaware Tribe of Indians. The Unami people of today recognize themselves as Lenape. There are 3 federally recognized Lenape tribes today: Delaware Nation and Delaware Tribe of Indians in Oklahoma, and Stockbridge Munsee Community in Wisconsin, a community that also is composed of Mohican people. I really like that Tim McGraw song, Indian Outlaw. I was listening to that on my Discman when I was writing this. Delaware only has 3 counties: Newcastle, Kent, and Sussex. On October 31st, 1991, Stephen Brian Pennell was convicted of the murders of 2 women from Newcastle County. Pennell was suspected of murdering 3 more women along Route 40. Pennell was a mediocre electrician who was accused of luring women into his van where he supposedly tortured and killed his victims. An undercover cop posing as a prostitute acquired some material from Pennell's vehicle that led to a warrant to search his van. There they found hair and prints that matched victims, as well as duct tape and a torture kit.
Okay.
Pennell was 31 years old at the time, had 2 children, and no previous criminal record. There were later confirmed to be unreported incidences of domestic violence. One incident in which he broke his wife's arm. Pennell never confessed to the crime, and personally, I think it's very rude to jump to conclusions. The court system isn't perfect, and just because he was a bad electrician doesn't mean that he's a serial killer.
Okay, let's stop. I'm cutting the tape off. You really went...
Listen, I was a true crime junkie from babehood. You know what I'm saying? I was a child.
Did you do a serial killer for each state? Do you remember?
I told you I do not remember any of this. I have blocked it out. I don't know. Maybe.
What a dark... I never would have married you if I'd known that there was...
Is that the tape? Is that all the tape?
We're not. I think we're done with Delaware. Once we get to Pennsylvania, with hopefully things are a little less glib, I guess is the word.
All right.
There's a darkness deep and dark inside.
I know. I said I was nice earlier. I'm not. I'm not the nice one, you guys. I'm really not.
Anyway, we have 40. No, actually, like she did the territories and DC as well. So we have like 51 more of these tapes. All right.
Yay.
Well, let's get into our first movie discussion.
If you promise that you won't think less of me, I'll tell you what I'm doing here. I'm a rent boy.
Oh, what's that?
A male prostitute. I'm lying, I'm not really a rent boy.
I need to take you somewhere.
Where do you live?
Nope.
I came to America to meet a girl. She was really pretty.
He said I was pretty. He said he liked tall girls and she was little.
You are my husband! I'm not telling you where I am! I am nowhere! I need to know precisely what you did to her!
I stood where she told me to wait for her for 6 hours like a spoon. And then she showed up with her boyfriend.
Emma! Are you in there?
She wasn't as pretty as I'd remembered. You're much prettier than she is.
It's your wife again! I need to know everything you did to her! I need you to fucking tell it to me like a fucking bedtime story! Once upon a time, I fucked another woman! Go!
Okay. I have a plan. The plan is it's just you and me. That's the plan.
We should have children.
10 children?
10 seems good.
I would like 10 of you.
You won't hurt me, will you?
Talking about a movie, again, I never would have watched if it wasn't for this assignment. But I was pleasantly surprised with this one.
Mm-hmm.
The Dish and the Spoon from 2011.
Get it?
Directed by Alison Bagnall. Written by Bagnall and Andrew Lewis. Starring Greta Gerwig, Ollie Alexander, and others. Cinematography by Mark Schwartzberg. Yeah, this movie came out in 2011. Stars Greta Gerwig, who is now more known as a director. She directed the Barbie movie, amongst others. She's married to Noah Baumbach, who she co-writes things with. He is also a writer and a director. So Greta Gerwig's just kind of one of those like multifaceted filmmaker actors, you know.
Absolutely. And Ollie is like a British proto Timothy Chalamet.
Yeah, he's actually like a very LGBTQ representative pop star in England. He's got a couple,
I love that.
He's got a couple of hits over there. He's a wee gay lad, as they say over there.
Love it. I love a gay lad.
What region of the Isles was that accent? Write a letter and send it in, and if you get it right, okay, I'll send you a sticker. Send it in. I'll put an address up on the screen. I'll put our personal home address on the screen. We got a Rose crying in a tunnel. She tosses her phone out the window, and I have an idea. We'll talk about the geography of things after we do the discussion, so I have an idea of what tunnel she might have been in.
She's crying in a tunnel because she's driving through a tunnel.
And yeah, she's not walking through the tunnel. And she's broken. She's got no money. She's drinking and driving. And we see quickly that she's in when she stops at that gas station, it is in Delaware. And
she's basically pajamas, overcoat, digging pennies out of the console of the car.
Yeah, and she begging for booze, some dogfish ale, and I like your little snake here.
Yeah, I made you that snake.
She made me this snake. So she goes into a lighthouse. She seems like she's just fiddle fucking around before she's going. She has a destination, but she's just kind of loose about it. And she finds a kid. His name in the movie is only the boy. Her name is Rose. He has no name, boy. And just like in Fight Club, how our Edward Norton truly had no name. Mm-hmm. So it's a very no-name kind of state, Delaware.
Do you think he's the dish or the spoon?
He's the dish.
Yeah, I think so too.
I answered that seriously.
Yeah, I really did think about it. He's the dish.
So he doesn't wake up, and she carries him to her car, and he's in the back of the car. He gets up and he speaks in like he speaks poetry.
Whenever I find myself growing grim about the mouth, when it is a damp, drizzly November in my soul, whenever I find myself involuntarily pausing before coffin warehouses and bringing up the rear of every funeral procession I meet, and especially whenever my hypos get such an upper hand of me, it requires a strong moral principle to prevent myself from deliberately stepping into the street and methodically knocking people's hats off.
Do you have any place I could take you, or...
And then he says that he claims to be like a rent boy, like a prostitute, but he's just joking. And then he reveals...
Is he?
Yeah. And then he reveals that he came to the U.S. to go to a wet place for a girl. And the girl dumped him, basically. She went back to an ex. But she also is going through something like this. Her husband cheated on her with that bitch, Emma.
And she's on a hunt to find Emma. But, you said she had a destination. And I do think that she's headed to Emma. But when she was walking up into that lighthouse, if she hadn't found him, I don't know what she would have done.
Well, it seemed like he distracted her enough, like they go and hang around in some places. And before her goal is to go to her parents' summer house, which is on Dewey Beach. We see signs. I'm pretty sure it's on Dewey Beach. But when he meets her, they kind of mess around, go to a brewery at some point.
Well, they're looking for Emma. They
Right.
go to her house first, and she's not there. And so then they go to her job, which is the brewery. But she's not working. She does not work there anymore. We don't know why.
But they do end up at what is her parents' summer home on Dewey Beach. And at one point he's sleeping and she steals from him. And she, again, goes to try to find Emma. Doesn't find her.
Buys more beer.
She's like yelling outside of this girl's house. While she's gone, he finds a keyboard. And he's like a little musician. And he finds old books, old pictures of her, a bunny hat, a lock of her hair from when she was a child. There's not much said between them. A remarkably quiet movie. Yeah. Probably the most we get to know of him at this point is when he gives all these examples of which a story is true.
Well, he tells 2 stories. One is true and one is false.
He has a few. Mm-hmm. There's one where he's like, his parents were at a chocolate shop and named a candy after him. He was a gymnast that hurt his back. He didn't go through puberty until he was like 16. But the first thing he said was something about like his mother died. His family kind of fell apart. And so he just started traveling. He left home at a very young age. And his father just funds his, out of guilt or something, funds his journeys.
I liked the way that was set up because it was kind of like a one truth, one lie. So he told the chocolatier thing and said, my parents named this chocolate for me when I turned 18. And then he said, or my mom died when I was in middle school and my dad now gives me money to stay away.
Well, when he falls asleep, she steals from him. He's got a wallet loaded with cash.
Well, he has tons of money. That also makes you think, why was he in that lighthouse? He could have gone somewhere. I don't know if he doesn't have ID. He may be underage. We're not really sure how old he is. You get out of school at 16 in a lot of places in Europe, so...
It kind of seems like she's being followed around by a Tim Burton character. But let's talk about... There's a couple of movie posters... And this is similar to Fight Club, where I was just kind of so struck by how shitty the Fight Club movie poster is.
I'm upset by this poster.
There are 2 Dish and the Spoon posters, and one makes sense and the other does not. But I'll put it up on the screen, and it shows Greta Gerwig looking whimsically up into the sky with a half smile.
She's got makeup on that she never wears.
Yeah.
Her hat is way too red and clean. What the fuck is this shirt? You never, no. They curled her hair.
The boy is behind her holding some cartoon flowers. It looks like it's trying to be some kind of
It's a romantic comedy.
Some Napoleon Dynamite-ass romance or some shit.
Mm-hmm. And he's going to win her with these fake-ass flowers.
Let me put up the poster of the actual good poster, which may have been a little bit more enticing compared to the one that you see the most around. Because if I saw this movie poster, I'd be like, this doesn't look like anything.
No.
But this movie is not meant to be some kind of whimsical romance.
This is not a love story.
This is actually quite a dark story about like someone's psychosis, and there's not a lot of there's things that are beautiful about the story, but this story is like incredibly sad.
To me, this is a portrait of 2 broken people who for a time found some comfort in each other.
Yeah, almost like a what's that one with Scarlett Johansson and Bill Murray? A little different. Interrupted Girl.
No, that's Girl Interrupted.
I know, I'm just joking.
It was like
Lost in Translation.
Yeah,
that one.
translation.
It's a little different, but it has that kind of a feeling, like perfect for each other in this moment to get through something like a solitude through each other.
And they kind of have like this little fantasy life happening.
Yeah.
Where they go around as though they're getting married at one point, but they just go have old-timey photos done. It's very cute.
Well, they do like a gender reversal thing.
Oh, yeah.
Where she pretends to be a male. After all that, she just walks off on him, who is supposed to be her in this weird role play.
Because she calls Emma and leaves this terrible voicemail acting as though it's her husband talking to Emma.
Can I kiss you?
Okay.
Yeah? Because you like it?
What?
I can kiss you because you like it?
Stop it.
Like, she's really losing her shit here.
Oh, yeah.
But she comes back to the bar, and he's serenading the whole bar on the piano, and
they all love him.
And she mouths to him like, "I'm sorry." Like, okay, this is my theory, my idea.
Okay.
That really made this movie fascinating to me, and I think it does surround the concept of the that we've brought up before, which is a bit of a stereotype of the manic pixie dream girl. But this is a little different. This is
not that.
Now, to give the idea of the manic pixie dream girl as we know it in other movies, more in these stereotypical rom-coms, the girl is like unique and like maybe artsy or sees the world in a different way, but the character is often used as a vehicle to change the life of a lead male character. So there's like some real like I'm fascinated with the trope, but there is like a negative connotation surrounding it.
Yeah.
That is like that a lot of people would consider to be even though it seems like the character is the female character is so like amazing, is not actually a lot flatter than like the story would give its credit to be.
Yeah.
I kind of consider this character of Rose to be what I would call a post-manic pixie dream girl, because it almost is like we're seeing the aftermath of a different manic pixie dream girl movie here.
I can get into that. Like, she was her husband's manic pixie dream girl, but the mistake he made was marrying her, and then that doesn't fucking work. They don't work. The
subtext that people may read into problematic natures of the manic pixie dream girl trope are like control, right? Like when they do finally come together or not, like his life is changed because they are together, but like all the power appears to be in the side of the manic pixie dream girl, because the guy's like pining and lovesick, but he has to change his outlook on life to match her whimsical nature.
Yeah.
And when that works, it's like at the end, like he's figured out a way to capture this girl, or and like 500 Days of Summer, I don't think they even end up together, but that's one like classic example.
Because that's usually the thing, right? Like, you're changed, but then now you go and become a better person in your next relationship.
Yeah, with or without them, or whatever.
Usually without.
Yeah, often that happens, which is kind of better when it doesn't work out.
I actually thought you were going to do like he's a manic pixie dream boy or something.
Well, I think their characters are similar.
It's a little flip.
I think he's also post in a way, because when we first meet him, he starts reciting poetry, but he doesn't keep that up. It's like he's just an awkward boy, and he is a poetic, creative boy. But at first, it's like he's trying to embody that, and then it just like he's just so broken he can't actually maintain that. And
he's trying on personalities.
She comes off like that kind of a trope, but shattered. Like she gave into some dude. She was the manic pixie dream girl, and then this guy went off and fucked around on her.
Yeah.
And now we're seeing this type of person who was this artful girl who took things in a different way, because we see her like wander through life and process things in ways that seem different from everyone else. But in this sense, she is shattered by the male trope.
There's a scene that really like hit me really, really hard. She randomly will call her husband and yell at him. There's a scene where they stop at a payphone and she calls and she's just screaming like, I need to know what you did. I need to know every single thing that you did with this person. And we don't hear his explanation.
No. Once upon a time, I fucked another woman. No.
But he tells her.
Yeah.
And that is uncommon. It's like he does know her well enough to be like, the only way to end this is for me to actually give you a truthful and honest answer. And when she gets it, it like calms her down. Okay. And she actually says, thank you. And, speaking from someone who in a past life, before I knew Bob, was cheated on, and it was pretty horrible. Those are the thoughts that make you crazy. What was it?
Yeah.
What happened? And no, you don't need to know those things. Like, truly you don't. You need to be able to let it go. But sometimes you feel like you can't. Like, you become obsessed.
Yeah.
And in that moment, when I knew that he was actually telling her, it really, the look on her face, like, broke my heart. Because obviously she didn't really want to hear that. But at the end of it, she was like, thank you.
Okay.
And I think it helped her heal.
Okay. Thank you. Bye.
At least, well, there was a process to the healing.
Well, yeah, it was
partway
part of
through.
it. I'm not saying that did all of it, but it was part of it. She stopped calling and yelling at him after that.
Well, she ends up kissing this boy, and it seems like they are kind of together. But he, to try to, help her, because he knows what her mission is to find Emma, he tracks Emma down on her own at this dance hall because they meet another girl.
It's so
that she
convoluted,
knows.
but yeah.
And it seemed a little confusing why people are connected, but I actually think the answer is pretty simple when I get into the geography of it.
Oh, sure.
But he figures out that Emma should be at this Grange Hall colonial dance. And she doesn't really know, but as they lead up to that, he's like watching her sleep and caressing her hair. They go fishing for striper, and they catch one and they eat it for Thanksgiving. And there's this interesting conversation where she, not very well, kind of explains Thanksgiving to him.
Yeah.
And it's definitely about the colonial history.
Yeah.
And he has his own insecurities too. He talks about how he hates his teeth, and she does like a finger kiss on each of his teeth.
I love that part.
And then asks if he wants to get married. And they're like children.
Yeah.
They're like reduced to these childlike states.
It is like a fantasy world. They are playing.
Yeah, she had to kind of revert to this weird childhood state to figure out how to heal through that. And this kid is going through a similar thing, but he is becoming infatuated. He says to her, like, you won't hurt me, will you?
I know.
But she doesn't really answer. But they go get dresses and period costumes. And do you think they really got married?
No, they didn't get married. She's
Okay.
already married. They said we're going to get married, and they went to one of those places where you get like antique photos done.
Yeah.
And because she walked in and she was like, I want a wedding dress. And, then he put on his little suit or whatever, and they took the most adorable picture. But that was them getting married because they're playing. They played at getting married. Of course, then she tells people that she married him because she is the manic part. She's like a manic, broken woman instead of a pixie dream girl.
She has this artsy energy. She's definitely the kind of weird girl I would have chased in college, too. Who would seem broken then as well, probably. Yeah, so they go to this dance at Grange Hall, and
she's having fun.
He's having a good time, but then Emma is there, and it takes a bit before Rose sees Emma, but as soon as Rose sees Emma, attacks.
This also upset me because they're having this wonderful time, and I know that he set this up days before they did the whole playing getting married thing, right? And it's almost as though, like, he's trying to give her what she says she wants. She wants to beat the shit out of Emma. At one point, she says she's going to kill the bitch. But it is the most upsetting to her when she actually, like, does confront Emma. Like, that... It's like the first time we see her cry since her car, probably.
Yeah, when she has to go in this back room, and she really breaks down when the boy comes in and looks at her, and then she realizes, like, there's just a full clarity to her whole mentality.
This isn't real. What they've been doing is not real.
And so they make their way back to where she originally drove from. She's got Virginia plates. When he first is conscious and they meet, she's like, I could take you anywhere you want to go. And then she's at that point again after she gets in the fight. And she's like, I just want to see him. And she goes back to her ex's place, and we see this guy, and they hug and kiss. And he's like,
they're still married.
Are you back? Are you back? And the boy attacks him.
Mm-hmm.
And the guy, but he's just a small, skinny kid. So the guy just kind of like shoves him off of him.
And Rose is like, don't hurt him, don't hurt him.
Yeah, he seems like not like annoyed more than like offended. Yeah. And so she's like, I'll come right back out. And we don't know how long she's actually in that house there. She goes back to this guy essentially.
Yeah.
And when she comes back out, the boy is gone with a gift. And earlier in the movie, we see him in like an antique store buying a dish and a spoon. She absolutely did use him, but they were both in such this vulnerable place that you can tell that as much as he wanted them to be together, like, he just knew, right? Obviously, when you're going back, and so it just ends up being this like microcosm of her life, and he moves it along to be the Rent Boy or maybe someone else's dish, you know. But yeah, and she doesn't open up the gift. We know what's in the box.
Yeah.
It's that dish and the spoon.
It was very hard to feel good about anything the way it ended, right? Because he's still this aimless boy just walking down the street, and she's back in this relationship and she's in her home with her husband, but you know that nothing is ever going to be like it was before.
Her spirit's broken.
Like she's decided to try, sure, but it's never going to be the same. And she had this moment of happiness with this kid. And I just imagine the third chapter of her life is her like regretting the fact that she didn't just leave with him.
So yeah, when I'm explaining my concept of the post-manic pixie dream girl, I'm not really trying to shove Rose into this. You know, when I say that, it's almost, this movie almost feels like if it's a post-manic pixie dream girl thing, it's almost in defense of this character, like giving that tropey character like a broken depth, like a fragile depth that a lot of those movies don't actually have.
A little reality.
So how would a character like that has the illusion of spirit and depth actually become, visibly to us as viewers, like more interesting characters, to become shattered by this boy who originally it was really about him and his journey, and now it is about how his journey actually broke her, how he took something from her, and how she's going to be shattered by it maybe for the rest of her life, to the point where she accidentally even uses other people who know exactly what she's been through. And I mean, in a sense, they're using each other as well. So, but that's the dish and the spoon, and a nice little low budget movie, a quiet movie with a lot of emotional implications. Mm-hmm. I was actually quite impressed by this film by Alison Bagnall, and gosh, I think I'm a 3.75.
I'm a 4.
I figured you would be. That's a good score, so that's a 7.75. You know, I'm trying to think of why I'm not hitting a 4 like you. I don't really have any complaints about this movie, really. I actually find it to be very fascinating. So you know what? I think your 4 is a solid score. I think this is a very underrated film that a lot of people don't know about. I think it's at least a solid 8.
Yeah, hell yeah.
And I think, you know, and maybe I built some bridges in my mind with other movie trope concepts to have such a specific special understanding of this movie. But I feel like, I mean, that's just the fun of these movies that are so quiet like this, that and emotional, like what you get out of them. If someone got something completely different, I understand, but I feel weirdly confident in my interpretation of this movie.
I can totally see that. I do feel your explanation does fit in with how I felt about it, in that this is a version of a person that I don't think I've seen before on screen. And Greta Gerwig is magnetic. This is the first time I've ever watched a movie with her in it, and now I want to see that I recall. Now I want to see everything that she's done. I just want to look at her face. Like she's perfect to play a role like this because she feels deeply. That feels so dumb to say, but like,
yeah,
she allowed this character to not have a filter, and it was very raw.
It kind of lends it to how well her performance is by the fact that her character is not like talking constantly. It's not like some dialogue heavy movie. She's wearing it. A lot of the acting is quiet,
and there's not a lot of explaining of the things that she does.
Yeah, we're going to talk about the geography here of that. Where is it? I already mentioned Dewey Beach. This movie has signs, literal signs all over it. But Alison Bagnall's film here appears to briefly span every state in the Delmarva Peninsula, as main character Rose heads towards coastal Delaware, and the route we believe she takes is none other than Route 13 across the waters of the starting point of Chesapeake Bay. We're talking about the notorious Chesapeake Bay Bridge Tunnel. And I believe it's within one of a few tunnels along that path where she throws her flip phone out of her car window while crying. And from there we see scenery and wildlife that could easily be any part of the Virginia and Maryland portions of the Delmarva Peninsula until she finally arrives at the areas of Dewey and Rehoboth Beach. You would figure if Rose drove across a bridge in the middle of a mass of water, literally going across Chesapeake Bay, which, by the way, in Mission Impossible 3, where we figured that long bridge was like in the Keys or something, that was the Chesapeake Bay Bridge, connecting eastern Virginia Beach area to the bottom of the Delmarva Peninsula. It literally goes across the entrance, the mouth of the Chesapeake Bay.
That's cool.
Wow.
You would figure if Rose drove across the bridge in the middle of a mass of water, then you figure that would be irresistible to show a shot of the topside areas of that route. I mean, it's hard to say why. I mean, we're presuming here. We're having fun here, all right? But Rose's Virginia license plate is kind of a clue. Like most other areas of Virginia, except the northernmost parts, would put this specific route as a quicker path to Dewey Beach, Delaware. So we place the location of Rose and her husband's home, which we see at the end of the movie, somewhere in a Virginia Beach neighborhood, like just east of Norfolk. We'll say it's off Haygood Road. I love just saying the specific road names for no fucking reason. They do not tell us where. We're making it up.
The land of make-believe.
Bobby's making it up.
For fun's sake, we'll place their house on Peach Creek Lane. Fun, right? Route 13, going across the Chesapeake Bay Bridge Tunnel, begins in this area towards Rose's parents' summer home on Dewey Beach. Signs and locations of Dewey Beach are seen throughout the film alongside areas of Rehoboth Beach just north of Dewey. And we believe that Rose and her husband and the woman her husband cheated on her with, Emma, are all originally from Lewes, Delaware, right by that area. It makes sense that they would all be from that area because it would explain why, you know, even though they live in Virginia, but somehow her husband both cheated on her with the coastal Delawarean Emma. And that's because they both have familial ties to the Lewes and Rehoboth areas that causes them to periodically return. Hence Rose's family summer home on Dewey Beach. And we place Grange Hall in the 5 Points area of Lewes, with the Gold Ballroom Dance Studio being the perfect stand-in for Grange Hall. Though I suspect Grange Hall scenes might have literally been filmed in Dover. Story-wise, we track Rose and the boys' emotional journey within the coastal towns of Lewes, Rehoboth, and Dewey Beach. So there you go. Isn't it fun? Isn't learning about Delaware geography fun?
Yeah.